4 American soldiers died in an ambush, and senior senators realized they had not even known that U.S. troops were in Niger. Forget the CIA. America's most secret missions in Africa used legal loopholes to build, arm, and send foreign proxy forces into combat, with details hidden even from Congress. With 29 U.S. bases spread across 15 countries, a black budget of $310 million, and programs so classified that even Pentagon spokesmen refused to comment, the true scope of America's military footprint on the continent is far more secret than anyone imagines. But what exactly is being hidden, and how did it all begin? In October 2008, the Pentagon activated United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, creating a single unified headquarters for all American military activities on the continent. Before that, U.S. operations in Africa were scattered, managed piecemeal by commands based in Europe or the Middle East, with little coordination and limited presence on the ground. The post-9/11 era brought new urgency. Counterterrorism became the driving force, and planners in Washington saw a need for a command that could respond quickly to threats, support fragile governments, and expand American influence in a region increasingly eyed by rivals like China. AFRICOM's architects faced a challenge: how to build a network of operational sites without sparking backlash over a permanent U.S. military presence. Their solution was a new vocabulary. Instead of calling installations bases, they introduced terms like forward operating site, cooperative security location, and contingency location. Each label carried a different promise, some meant for rapid deployments, others for quiet logistics hubs, and a few for training local forces. This language allowed the Pentagon to spread its footprint across Africa while minimizing the appearance of a large-scale occupation. Behind the acronyms, a new era of American power projection was taking shape, one designed for flexibility, secrecy, and deniability, laying the groundwork for missions that would soon operate in the shadows. A classified 2019 planning document from AFRICOM revealed a network of 29 American military sites spread across 15 African countries. The official record, though, lists only one permanent base, Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti. The rest are scattered under less familiar titles: forward operating sites, cooperative security locations, and contingency locations. Each site serves a different function. Some are launch pads for special operations raids, others act as hubs for logistics or intelligence gathering. Chablis Airfield, just a few miles from Camp Lemonnier, operates in near total obscurity, supporting drone missions and surveillance flights across the Horn of Africa. The growth has been steady and deliberate. In 2008, when AFRICOM was activated, the map of United States military presence in Africa was nearly blank. Over the next decade, new sites appeared in the Sahel, the Gulf of Guinea, and deep in the interior. By 2025, the network spans from Senegal in the west to Kenya in the east, and from Tunisia down to South Africa's doorstep. The Pentagon rarely comments on these locations. Their names and exact purposes remain hidden, even as the network expands. The question remains, how are these sites staffed, supplied, and used when so few are officially acknowledged? Special Operations Command Africa, SOCAFRICA, maintains a presence that stretches across more than half of the continent's nations. In 2019, American Special Operations Forces were active in 22 different African countries, a reach matched only by deployments in the Middle East. This network is not limited to training or advising. American commandos have participated in direct combat in at least 13 African nations, from the deserts of Niger to the dense forests of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The numbers reveal a quiet but sweeping campaign. In any given year, as much as 14% of all U.S. commandos deployed abroad are stationed somewhere in Africa. Their missions range from joint patrols with local units to high-risk raids and intelligence gathering far from the public eye. The operational map includes countries like Kenya, Somalia, Burkina Faso, and Cameroon, each with its own mix of threats and political sensitivities. Special Operations Command. Africa's area of responsibility covers 11 million square miles, making it one of the largest operational theaters in the world. The command's activities span from the Atlantic coast to the Red Sea, with teams moving between remote outposts and urban centers, often with little notice or fanfare. This vast deployment allows the U.S. military to respond quickly to emerging threats, But it also means American forces are operating in environments where oversight is limited, and the lines between support and combat are often blurred. American military operations in Africa have left a trail of casualties that stretches across the continent. U.S. troops have been killed or wounded in at least 6 countries: Kenya, Libya, Niger, Somalia, South Sudan, and Tunisia. In Niger, the 2017 ambush near Tongo Tongo claimed the lives of 4 American soldiers and 4 Nigerian partners, exposing the dangers of missions that often unfold far from public view. In Somalia, a Navy SEAL died during a raid in 2017, and an Army Special Forces soldier was killed in 2018 during an attack on a remote outpost. Tunisia and Libya have seen their own share of combat, with American forces fighting militants in operations rarely acknowledged at the time. Kenya and South Sudan round out a list that underscores the risks faced by U.S. personnel in environments where alliances shift and threats emerge without warning. The AIR war in Somalia has become a defining feature of this campaign. Since the first confirmed drone strike in 2007, the tempo has surged. Under one administration, the number of strikes more than quadrupled. Over 200 were carried out in just a few years. In 2020 alone, official reports tracked dozens of airstrikes aimed at al-Shabaab, with both U.S. and Somali sources disputing the true toll. Independent monitoring groups estimate that hundreds of civilians have been killed or wounded, challenging the Pentagon's claims of minimal collateral damage. For communities in southern Somalia, the sound of drones overhead has become part of daily life, bringing both a sense of protection and a constant fear of sudden violence. Behind every statistic is a family, a village, and a story altered by decisions made far away. The human cost of these missions is measured not only in numbers, but in the lives changed forever. Section 127E programs operate with a scale and secrecy that set them apart from almost any other United States military initiative. From 2017 to 2020, at least 23 separate 127E operations were launched worldwide, most concentrated in Africa. The cost reached $310 million over those 3 years, a dramatic jump from the original cap of $25 million when the authority was first created. Each program typically builds small proxy units, usually 80 to 120 fighters, trained, equipped, and directed by United States Special Operations Forces. These missions run under code names like Exile Hunter, Kodiak Hunter, Mongoose Hunter, Paladin Hunter, and Ultimate Hunter, with most of these efforts focused on Somalia. Admiral William McRaven, who once led United States Special Operations Command, called Section 127E probably the single most important authority we have in our fight against terrorism. General Richard Clark, another Special Operations Command commander, credited these programs with the capture or killing of thousands of terrorist targets. As one former defense official put it, these proxies fill gaps where there are not enough Americans to send, making them an essential, if little known, engine of United States operations across the continent. Pentagon officials rarely discuss the details of these missions. When pressed, Special Operations Command spokesman Ken McGraw says they do not provide information about Section 127E programs because those programs are classified. This wall of secrecy stands even as violence soared across the continent. Pentagon data shows terrorism fatalities in Africa have soared by nearly 100,000% over the past 2 decades, a rise unmatched in any other region where the U.S. military operates. While American-backed proxies hunt militant leaders, the broader tide of violence keeps rising, and the true scope of these missions remains hidden from both the public and Congress. In Cameroon, U.S. support continued for years to a partner unit later tied to mass atrocities, with little outside scrutiny or accountability. The gap between what is known and what is actually happening continues to widen, raising urgent questions about who is responsible when things go wrong, and whether anyone is watching at all. Today, U.S. proxy wars in Africa operate under laws so secret even Congress is left in the dark. As billions flow and violence surges, the line between accountability and impunity blurs. In a democracy, war without oversight is not just a loophole, it is a warning. What happens next is up to us,